Hey there, I'm Light, and I'm a machine learning engineer and researcher who is building at the intersection of AI and human systems with a track record of, you know, bringing people together and doing real work. So it's officially the last week, last phase of my 3MTT and data science machine learning program, and I took this up about it's about March. It was a 6 month program, and at that point in time, I was just transitioning into this career path. Of course, I was like, okay, I know what I want to do now, but then it was not still clear, and I had this really huge concern that, oh, is this really for me? Would I fit in? It's all mathematics and computer science and core concepts. At the end of the day, looking back, and it's June, I have experienced real growth. So I'm just going to go through 5 major things that I can say I enjoyed during the program, during the entire process of being a fellow at 3MTT, although I'm still a fellow. Now, this program is structured into the learning phase, mentorship phase, and capstone project building phase. Okay, the learning phase is now divided into the foundation and specialization. The foundation phase was for 4 weeks, which is a month, and the specialization phase was for 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. That it was about 10 to 8 weeks. Yeah, so um, we're having everything culminate to about 3 to 4 months of just going to the learning platform, trying to read and understand the concepts, work on projects, and there's the mentorship phase, which I'm going to start now in a couple of days once the entire program for learning, once the entire time for learning comes to like a close, because they want all the fellows to start at the same time for the mentorship, before we now proceed to the project building, right? So the first thing that I want to say for when I was in the foundation phase, yes, number one, it's supposed to look very strange. Like it's supposed to look very, very, very much strange. And strange in the fact that, or in the concept that, it is a new thing, it is a new concept, it is a new idea that you are trying to get comfortable with. And yes, you would look at the trainers, because we usually have these virtual trainers, and you see how they are so comfortable with the concepts. I remember the first time that I had to know about a pandas data frame, and it felt so surreal. Yeah, like, oh, this thing really works like this. And then there was also the thoughts of how come it's this more like basic knowledge that's leading up to the LLMs or the huge AI models that we are having now in the world. But it was all like a process, little by little, little by little. So I had to get comfortable. So that very first foundation phase was not me really getting new knowledge. It was me getting comfortable with the whole new things I'm seeing. With the, for instance, sigmoid functions, or for instance, OpenCV from computer vision, or deep learning libraries like Keras, right? Oh, I also got used to the concept of deep learning in itself, of libraries, of Python, of classes, of objects, and all these programming terms that kind of come together and keep on hitting you and hitting you and hitting you. So that first number one is that you have to get, it's going to look unfamiliar to you. That very, very first phase will look unfamiliar, right? The very second thing for me is the whole grinding stage that you have to grind. Okay, so um when I was learning, I barely ever never spoke about it on social media, because before this new version of me that has become comfortable with data science and machine learning, and putting myself in very uncomfortable situations, there was a version of me that would want to overtalk about what she's doing, or want to overhype it when you know that you've not really gotten there, right? So the second thing is that I I accepted this sort of silence over um, publicity. You know, they will tell us, talk about your progress on the learning journey that you've been on. Tag Data Science Nigeria, tag 3MTT, tag Dr. Bosun Tijani, tag the federal government, FMCID, and all these things. People like, yeah, I should. People should know that I'm learning this. And I understand the reason why they would want you to do that, because they want you to not automatically come at the end of the program like, oh, I did this, and like nobody saw any, like how you were doing it, the losses, the wins, and all for you. And I understand that that would actually work for some people, but the thing is, it just wasn't gonna work for me. I've reached that point where I know what would work for me. And then after a while, I was like, okay, fine. I would have to come to the reality of things, that I have to grow silently. This new things. If I keep on yapping about what I want to do, there were the times where I felt that strong urge to talk about what I even felt like I did not understand, like concepts I did not understand. Like, what did I understand about activation function? Pardon this swear word, but like, what did I know about activation functions? What did I know about deep learning layers? And they were still new concepts. There were still times where I knew that it wasn't just there, but like I was still getting familiar to this concept. And if I was choosing this kind of the opposite of silence, which is being so loud, I would have gotten an overinflated view of my knowledge base, and I would suddenly just feel that, oh, I shall know this, and it's like more than what I think and shit like that. So I didn't want that at all. I didn't want that at all. I just wanted to be able to focus. I just wanted to be able to be more strategic and be very confident in my skills. I rather chose to build projects than yap about, my learning, or my reading notes, or my reading slides, or listening to videos, right? Because that was majorly what it was. You listen to videos, you read the slides, you allow the concepts to stay. You are growing your neurons are absorbing this information, and you're like, yeah, this is good, and so on and so forth. Then, the silence paid. The silence definitely paid, because now it's reminding me of this particular week. I think it was a couple of weeks back, 2 weeks ago, my ALC, because part of the program is that you have an ALC, like a physical learning center, right? And my ALC was having a mini kind of get together with all the fellows that were in the state, and we had to so we're just asked to come and talk on the project that we built. And I felt like if I was always going about the noise, I would not have had any real project. So because of my whole curiosity, I was able to build a project. I'm going to talk about that in another video, right? I was able to build a project, and I was able to put it on my GitHub. That was actually the first time I put something valuable on my GitHub too. And at the end of the day, there was this, this whole beauty of everything come together, and I'm like, oh, this my grinding down, everything just paid off. It just felt like it was all a deserving moment. They were like, oh my god, are you sure this program you learned it from? I'm like, yes, this is where I learned it from. Oh my god. You know. But at the end of the day, that whole accolade and oh, you are really good at what you are doing, it felt like little to nothing, because I knew deep down that there was still more to do. There was still more to do, right? Now, it's going to make us head to like the number three. Number three of our idea. So since I've already written it all down, this is the next part. It does not become real until it becomes addictive. Yeah, you like addictive, like addicted care. Yes, you have to become addicted. You know, when I started, I was having this fear that, oh, what if I don't open my learning platform to check the new information and I forget totally about it, and I don't remember that I'm supposed to, you know, check my learning platform, and then weeks go and some months go, and like, oh my god, I'm taking this program. I was not addicted yet. Compared to now, I am on the platform waiting for them to unlock it, unlock the courses, unlock, you know. Now, thankfully, I'm done with it, so there's no much waiting as much. But I became addicted. I've become more needy to the knowledge, needy to the practice, because one thing I've gotten used to is looking at things that I don't understand yet. Like, once you've gotten familiar with this concept and it has become grounded, you get more familiar with a new concept, and it just feels like, oh my god, how is this coming together? Because recently there was what I've been really thinking about. It was from a video I saw on the Machine Learning Lagos WhatsApp group, and someone just dropped like a really resourceful LinkedIn video, and then I watched it, and it was all like, your models remaining on your machine, on your Jupyter notebook or your Google Colab would always remain useless. Still, it is actually deployed into a real-time environment, and that's when we know that, okay, what I'm doing is relevant. And then that was when I realized that, oh, because I was so curious, does it end at just building models and going for accuracy? But then I realized that, oh, you really have to implement. That is the deployment part of it. You are putting your AI model in the production side of wherever you're working at. So this curiosity, this addiction was necessary once you have hit a certain threshold of coming time and time again, being disciplined, not being motivated. Because if I was always coming at every time where I suddenly felt the urge to, I would have more down times than up times, and at the end of the day I would not build some sort of addiction to it, right? So at the end of the day, you know, the whole excitement, the whole it's budding all came together, and it's more addictive, right? So the fourth thing I want to talk about is that I would like to say is the fifth. I want to say it's the fourth. The fourth thing is that the learning never ends. The learning never ends. So, pardon me. The learning never ends. Some of us are not ready to accept that. My week 7 or 8 of my deep learning, of my machine learning course with 3 MTT or data science, there was another 5 days program to understand Python, because this data science and machine learning project was the actual reason that I began to actively know about Python. Like, I just knew Python as a programming language before. I never actively, wanted to read and read and read and read and read, want to use Python. So that was the first time I was getting to know about Python. And that's when I knew, oh, wow, there's this. So there was a 5 days program that the data science community had again. I participated in it. That was when I knew deeper about pandas, about numpy arrays, pandas data frames, Python, you know, Python libraries. I knew more about scikit-learn or sklearn. I knew so many much more concepts at a deeper level because it was now explained like they were talking to beginners, And since I was a beginner in Python, but not really a beginner in the data science and ML part anymore, it's all kind of blended. And now I understood where the lecturers or the teachers were coming from the more like intermediate advanced level now, right? So it became so sweet and so soothing to follow up. Now, the learning never ends. I have also taken a She Plus Tech and Data Camp scholarship for 3 months to get a degree or to get a scholarship, to get a certificate in a give or take. I'm trying to look for the best word. An associate machine learning engineer certificate. It's a course. It's a track. Any one of it. And that one too has been very much daring. But I'm going to create another video by the time I'm done with it to talk about the whole process. Now, the very last thing that I want to talk about, the 5th thing, is you need accountability. Accountability is important. So I'm going to talk about this individual that I saw. I always knew him. I always had his contact, and I knew that he was a lot into mathematics and ML and data science. But the thing is, I didn't just see him as somewhat of not a mentor, but an accountability partner. But then the thing is, the regular accountability partners that we are used to is like somebody who is always checking up on us. It wasn't like that. This was somebody who would not even remember to text till maybe a month after. But the kind of very, very healthy structure that it helps me build was that I don't have to be checked on all the time like a toddler. I have to figure things out, break things to fix it, and at the end of the day, come and give reports. And then he would be like, this is good, what you're doing is good, you're progressing. He would laugh about it, and then go again. I'm like, I have to do better this time. Because for me, when I'm trying to learn, I want to get to a point. Maybe when I always have a partner, then I want to get to a point where I can hold very, very enriching conversations with this person, where I've passed through the foundation level. I can hold enriching conversations with this individual or individuals, and it feels like it's not just a giving situation, it's a give and take situation where I have learned so much, they have given so much to me, and now I can contribute back to their lives. For instance, participating in hackathons. So the 5 things that I said, number 1 is going to be very, very unfamiliar. Number 2, which is I think from my notes, you have to accept the silence. Yeah. Number 2, you have to accept the silence. Number 3, it has to become addictive. Number 4, learning never stops. And number 5, accountability is important. Very important. So this has been how my 3 MCT learning phase, core 3, has been going. Well, I do hope this is inspiring. So whenever we are having a new cohort, but I don't know if it's going to be the last cohort, but if we do have a new cohort, I'll definitely let that information be out on my channel. The very, very last thing, the quote that has been helping me this far. I don't know who said it, but it is not difficult. It is just unfamiliar. That is it. Whatever you think that I don't know how I'm gonna figure it out, you know, it's just you don't know it yet. You've not gotten inculcated and indoctrinated into the idea, which is why you find it difficult. It is never difficult. It is just unfamiliar. So this is a bye again from me. I'm Light, an African ML researcher and engineer who is building systems at the intersection of AI and human systems, doing real work and getting people along, bringing people along. So I hope to see you in the next edition of my YouTube video. Bye.